Pritchard, as he'd explained that he left there when he was in 3rd grade and moved to Marietta, Georgia.
Did you grow up there or did you grow up here in Atlanta?
I grew up here. I moved up here about 3rd grade.
Okay. What part of Atlanta did you move to?
Marietta.
Okay.
I'll be everywhere though.
Marietta is a city located in Georgia's Cobb County and is a suburb 15 miles northwest of Atlanta, meaning it's located right on the outskirts and has a fairly small population compared to the major city. Marietta also has a reputation of being a safer place to live, with an almost 50% difference in the crime rate per year compared to Atlanta. Key grew up in a household with 7 brothers and sisters and got into the streets early, claiming he jumped off the porch at just 13 years old with the help of his older brothers.
At what age would you say you jumped off the porch?
I always knew what was going on. Shit, about 13, 14. I already knew what was going on though.
Yeah. So when you jumped off the porch, did your older brothers, they kind of help guide you? Teach you what not to do?
My big brother know that.
He also obtained the nickname Lil Key at a young age, as he could be seen on his old Facebook account back in 2012 when he was around 10 years old, posing in a photo with the now stage name written on his picture. He seemingly had a real fondness towards Chicago drill music growing up as well, as he could be seen striking poses like Chief Keef, and even naming his old account after the infamous Chicago gang, Old Block, followed by the popularized Chief Keef ad-lib, Bang Bang. Key grew up along Favor Road in Marietta. This road being one of the very few most dangerous areas in Cobb County. Favor Road is also known for poverty. When being compared to parts like East Cobb, it's a completely different way of living. He attended Osborne High School, which is also located on Favor Road, where he would play point guard for the school's basketball team up until 2017 before dropping out from school completely as well in 2017. Playing his last game in February of that year, he eventually spoke about this on his song, I Hate Pain, where he states that he dropped out in 9th grade because he couldn't pass due to his teachers hating on him, also stating that he never went to class and was more frequently on police chases, showing that even as a kid growing up, he always had one foot in the streets. Growing up in the dangerous area whilst in poverty would make the streets become Key's way of life. A sad story that we see every day in young men coming out of the trenches in any city. Key would eventually become a part of the payroll clique, also known as K4T or Kill for Tana, at a young age that consists of different sets, but most notably they consisted of friends and brothers that grew up together. Or at least at first they did. But we'll get deeper into that topic later in the video, as it's a very important part of his story. For now, we have to look at what actually started this story, or more specifically, what started Lil Key's music career and how he blew up seemingly overnight, causing a string of events that led to the outcome we see today. While he got into the streets at a young age, it wouldn't be till later in his life that Key started making music. He would say that music came natural to him, and his big brother Meech helped him write some of his early songs.
It was slick natural, but my other big brother would help me.
Yeah.
He would help me write that shit.
He wouldn't be wrong about music coming natural to him though, because Key's music career was a real quick success, as he would release his first song in November 2019 titled Swing My Way, which currently sits at 194,000 views. He would also release another song in 2019 titled Make It Out, where he speaks about wanting to make it out of his current situation and get rich to take care of his family. He would state in this song, Lil Bam died, my girl came, everything changed, referring to his cousin Bam in Alabama who passed away. This tragic loss being a very important part of Key's story, because months before he started making music on January 5th, 2019, Pritchard, Alabama police responded to 521 East Elm Street in reports of a man being shot. Upon arrival, officers observed a black male victim on the ground with gunshot wounds. This man would later be identified as Antrell Nichols, also known as Bam, Lil Key's cousin. Bam would be treated by EMS personnel when he would soon be pronounced deceased on the scene. News reporting on this incident showed a chaotic scene, with family members yelling and crying loudly, with crowds forming around the caution tape, and fights even breaking out right next to the crime scene.
The screaming and fighting eventually ceased, but no information was released about the victim or a possible motive in today's homicide.
Key would later explain that this tragic loss was the one that made him start doing music in the first place to try and keep his cousin's name alive.
I found out my cousin died in Alabama. I just wanted to try to keep his name out there. Cause he got a little brother too. I be talking to his little brother. Trying to make him keep his head up, you know.
He would go on to keep Bam's name alive in his next song titled Hear Me Out, released in January 2020, using his name in the chorus of this song expressing the hurt he's feeling, with this song turning out to be the start of what would look like an unstoppable run for Key. After only 2 months of making music, Hear Me Out was the song that caught Lil Baby's attention along with millions of listeners. Between the raw, authentic lyrics speaking about his parents not being sober, or him speaking on all the pain he's feeling from what he's been through in life so far, along with the emotion you can feel on the song, made Key an artist that thousands upon thousands of people can relate to, giving him a fan base right from the start, while also stamping the initial connection of Baby and Key.
Hey, Lil Key, he actually from Atlanta too. Young dude, like 17 years old. He goes crazy. I'm listening to him too on a daily.
Key would later talk about this song and what came from it, saying that he had no idea it would be a success, and explains how the song was initially took down due to copyright, along with him not having any knowledge of the music industry.
It was like a couple months after I started rapping.
Yeah.
I ain't know it was gonna happen, but that shit happened fast.
Do you know what song caught his attention?
Probably Hear Me Out. Only had like 1 song, got 2 songs.
For real?
They deleted that shit off YouTube though. The nigga that made the beat, I guess, I ain't by the beat, I ain't know how that worked.
Key would then follow up on this song with another the next month titled Sacrifice, which also caught Baby's attention, leading him to hop on Twitter and tweet how good the song is. After discovering this raw talent, Lil Baby would start to be seen listening to Key on multiple occasions while continuously expressing how good his music is, mainly on his Instagram, with millions of followers seemingly giving Key's music to his audience to hear before eventually taking the next step and bringing him along on the team.
Ollie and Anna seemed so perfect. And what people didn't know was she was screaming for help.
On April 17th, 2020, Key's life would change drastically when Lil Baby would be seen inside of his home with a 4PF chain and stacks of money laid out in front of him on the table. This would be the day Baby signed Key to his 4PF label, placing the label chain around Key's neck while his unreleased song titled Carousel, which today is at almost 2 million views, is playing in the background as a message to let everyone know he's coming strong in the music industry and to celebrate his life finally changing financially, with hundreds of fans reacting to this chaining day with requests that Key drops this unreleased song that was heard in the video, really showing that even before the label, Key grew a raw, organic fan base really quickly, which would eventually help him in the long run. After signing, Key would start to be seen in studio sessions with Baby out of town, as well as opening and experiencing sold-out shows with him.
Man, my boy going real deal noodles. Back in set field, man. Don't play with us. Don't play with us.
He would start to be around other artists like Polo G, and frequently with the 4PF crew. He would also start to be seen wearing $1,000 outfits and with more artillery than ever. He released his first single under the 4PF label titled By Myself, which is almost at 3 million views today, receiving great feedback from this song, with fans telling him that his career was about to take off, and rightfully so, because it was certainly looking that way. At this point, everything Key put out was on fire around Atlanta and Georgia in general, reaching out to the rest of the states mainly after he got signed, and it seemed like all he needed now was a smash hit that'll change his status in the music industry and eventually even reevaluate his contract for a better deal. But that's when things took a turn for the worse. Over the summer of 2020, Lil Key would let his By Myself single released in spring run up some numbers, with him only releasing 2 notable songs months later in August of 2020, one on World Star Hip Hop and the other as a feature for his label mate, Cold Hearted Savage. It was also around this time where he would start to broadcast his street activities more than usual as well, because in August of 2020, he would go on Instagram Live, previewing some of his music, when he would spot an op in his comments and completely flashed out in front of 400 viewers.
Funny, I shoot you in your shit. Yeah, Rich Quinn. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Rich Quinn. I shoot you in your shit, boy. Lame man on my Instagram. I'm on that, boy. I'm gonna shoot you in your shit when I catch you.
Then suddenly, a month later on September 13th, 2020 at 2 a.m., officers were dispatched to reports of shots fired off Belmead Court in Marietta. When officers arrived on the scene, they located a 23-year-old man lying in his bed with several gunshot wounds and pronounced the man deceased on the scene. This 23-year-old man being Lamar Miles, also known as Mar, Lil Key's older brother. Evidence suggested that the bullets came from outside the house, and reports show that a 22-year-old woman, who was allegedly Lamar's girlfriend, was also grazed in the arm by a bullet and refused to be transported to a hospital, and this case still remains unsolved to this day. The tragic loss was followed by an obituary that states Lamar was survived by his 2 parents, his son Jamar, his girlfriend, brothers, sisters, cousins, grandparents, and more extended family. Now, I want to be clear, the alleged reasoning behind this specific homicide is a sensitive topic and is strictly based off rumors from the streets, with none of these things being proven true as of today. And all info was taken from publicly available sources, but the fact is theories exist and things were said publicly, so I'm doing my best to report on it while using the word allegedly very heavily. Key and his brother Lamar are both affiliated with the Payroll Clique, a gang located along Favor Road where they both grew up and was created long before he started rapping. This clique is also known as K4T, or Kill for Tana, which consists of multiple sets and one forming a whole. Payroll K4T are beefing with a set called the Mucho Babies, also known as MOB. This set being a group of sex, money, murder bloods formed in the South Cobb area, mainly the Whispering Glen neighborhood on Hopkins Road, which is 13 minutes away from Payroll, along with sections in Smyrna and Austell, Georgia as well. The Mucho Babies also have a younger generation hybrid of their clique who goes by Hop Out Gang, or HOG. This younger generation operates on Hopkins Road as well, located in Powder Springs, Georgia, with all of these different locations being only 10 to 20 minutes away from each other, and all located in Cobb County. Hop Out Gang is notoriously responsible for the shooting that took place at McEachern High School in Powder Springs earlier this year on February 1st, when video footage would surface of a brief altercation between multiple people in a school parking lot, when shots would fly from both directions as the students scatter from the area.
They're trying to jump my... You're right.
Holding each other's straps.
This incident left two young men shot in the arm and leg who did not attend this high school, with one of the victims even being charged for possession of a weapon on school property, as well as loitering on school property, even though he was wounded that day. The two teens that were arrested for this shooting itself were indeed students at this school, one being 17 years old and the other being 16. These two teens are also alleged Hop Out Gang members. But the beef between Payroll and the original set Mucho Babies goes back as far as 2018, where on April 27th, 2018, at approximately 6:22 p.m., officers were dispatched to a parking lot on 1750 Bells Ferry Road in Marietta, where they found a 19-year-old man shot outside a convenience store. This 19-year-old man would then be rushed to Kennestone Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries.
They are searching for a white car with a spoiler that they say went north on Bells Ferry Road here, and we have also learned that there was a desperate effort to save the life of a young man who had been shot just outside of this storefront. Cell phone video from an employee of a Food Mart store shows a woman and other people trying to save the victim of a shooting. Ali Raza told us he heard several shots before the man went down.
Suddenly I heard shots like 3 to 4, and then I saw one guy, he laying down outside my store door.
And somebody said the guy was in a car and he just like pulled up to the pump, shot Buddy when he came out of the gas station, and then he just drove off.
Marietta police descended on the crime scene quickly to set up a perimeter. Officers rushed here when someone in one of the businesses called 911 about a man in the parking lot who'd been shot.
He would soon be identified as Tyon Gorman, better known as Miko. Miko was a member of the rival gang Mucho Babies, and word on the streets was that Miko was unalived by a man named DPF Shots, Shots being publicly locked in with Key and the whole Payroll crew, and is also a member of a blood set in Cobb County. He allegedly carried out the hit with a 17-year-old man named Jamar